Hey there, this is Stan the Meta Man, and today we will talk about the Bitcoin scenario that I see that might happen and how I hedge myself against this scenario. So we've all seen this rally of Bitcoin essentially from 16k last January to 44k at this stage, from October 28 to 45. A lot of people do expect correction to basically have a flash correction even in upcoming week or so. So that's quite interesting. I would probably be playing this out a bit and trying to take profits in some of my altcoins positions. Although the market view that I wanted to discuss is that we obviously will have the Bitcoin ETF coming. If not in January, then it will probably happen in March. And at the same time, institutions, they would want to get in either at the lower prices, or they will have huge FOMO and will be just buying and pumping the Bitcoin price up and up and up. A very interesting thing on the market is that retail investors, they don't have a lot of Bitcoin currently. So everyone is sitting in altcoins. And there is some technical analysis from different people that shows that we should still see somewhere around next year ETH at the price of $500 a piece. So that's quite an interesting thesis that you would want to play out, because if we will have some kind of black swan event and the whole market would just crash because of the banks or something else, that's kind of one scenario, but I think it's kind of simple and easy, and a lot of people that actually expect that, a lot of people they talk about this scenario. What if we will have something like this, that once Bitcoin ETF will be released, a lot of institutions, they will just FOMO with the funds, with essentially wealthy individuals of older age. They will only be buying BTC because they don't know anything else. Some of them, maybe they will buy ETH once ETH ETF will be present as well, but that's probably a bit later. So they will be buying Bitcoin and essentially pumping the price up. And as we all know, when BTC pumps, it's sucking up the liquidity out of the altcoins as well. So I think kind of a very, very interesting scenario for someone like BlackRock would be to create huge FOMO on BTC. So just have it running and have everyone buy at high prices, at higher and higher and higher prices, and just Bitcoin surging. But at the same time, we won't be seeing the L season. We will not be seeing the L season that we all want, and it will just be delaying, and more people, they will basically transferring their holdings from altcoins to BTC because they will feel FOMO and they will actually see that they're losing funds. And therefore, after that, they can add some FUD that altcoins go into zero because of the regulations. Maybe they can do something with the BNB as well, which might be huge. And it will essentially result in retail investors switching from altcoins to BTC, and they will probably not have a lot of upside there. And at the same time, essentially, manipulators on the market, they would be buying into the low prices on the altcoins in this season, and having alt season only around October, November next year, maybe even a bit later. Because currently we do only see AI and gaming run, and some other stuff as maybe this decentralized infrastructure. But in terms of other things, speaking of all the altcoins from previous cycle, like large caps and things like that, they didn't grow much. So it's quite interesting. And it seems like currently I see even in my portfolio, because I'm down around 15k currently from the highs of yesterday, that people are taking profits. And Lux is actually the one that's suffering the most. So it's currently in the red for me. Polkar did very, very nice yesterday. And bobo, I think, also actually is a bit lower for me as well, because yesterday I had 24k here. So I'm not sure how this scenario would play out. I think it's a very, very interesting play for BlackRock and manipulators to basically surge the Bitcoin price, create FOMO in institutions, suck the liquidity out of altcoins, add some FUD on the altcoins as well, make them drop, make people to transfer the funds into the BTC. And it's kind of interesting because someone I know was asking me recently, hey, Bitcoin price went up, so were you able to make some money on it? And I didn't make any money on Bitcoin because I don't have any Bitcoin in my portfolio. So it definitely up from there, because we kind of still have the thesis that retail investors, they buy into altcoins after Bitcoin surges as they expect them to go up. But what if they won't go up? what if Bitcoin will just be surging and it will just continue to suck out liquidity from altcoins, and alt season would be just delayed to the point where everyone would not believe that we would actually have an alt season and maybe just like a BTC market only now, things like that. So I think it's a very, very interesting view on this, and kind of how I would want to counter this, how I would want to hedge myself against this scenario is have some exposure to Bitcoin. So I don't essentially have any Bitcoin related stuff at this stage. Although, as you know, we had basically, I think it's one of the technology that's kind of new in the market because we don't have a lot of new technologies in the current cycle. So we had this BRC20 standard invented around spring of this year, and it's kind of growing nicely right now. And if you would actually check, so if you would actually check this NFT, they had couple listings at $5,900 this morning, so they are scooped already. And this is something I would probably be buying tomorrow. So probably in tomorrow video you would see myself buying this because there are a lot of people who bought this already. I kind of have this feeling like with Apes or even with Punks or even with Doge Pound as well. So I think this might be a very, very interesting and nice buy. And in terms of everything that happened, so it initially minted at like $250, which is crazy, and right now the floor is 7k. So it definitely surged it surged recently. However, the thing that I'm thinking here is that obviously if BTC will just surge and go up, this is where people would be diversifying and put in funds in order to catch this pump as well. Because if you would think about even retail investors that hold a lot of Bitcoin currently, there is not a lot of them, but if they would see that BTC would essentially surge, they would be buying something like this. So they won't probably be rebalancing in altcoins until we really see this confirmation of the alt season. Therefore, I don't think that if alt season will be delayed, they would essentially be buying altcoins. So it's a pretty nice hedge, I think. This first, the most expensive NFT. And the second thing, because there are a bunch of tokens here already that performing pretty nicely. However, from my end, I would want to have exposure to the whole BRC20 narrative with just one token that would run essentially anyway. And obviously, there are several options that we have here. Mubi that's run pretty nicely recently. Although the thing that I'm thinking currently, because I do also want to buy lower market caps, is actually TURT. So TURT is a Launchpad on BRC20. It's also a meme, so it's kind of interesting that it's a meme, it's a Launchpad, and it's not that high market cap currently. So 8 million, I think I saw 24 million yesterday on some websites that related specifically to BRC20 standard. So if we would check this out, so it would need some time to load. So it shows 25 million for some reason. Maybe it's because it's on Uniswap, so it's on ETH. Probably this one is actually the right one. So I think it surged quite nicely recently as well, but the fact that it's Launchpad, I think is quite interesting, because with the Launchpad, we obviously do get exposure to the whole narrative. And if it will surge even more, Launchpad tokens, they will just become crazy expensive. And by essentially staking them and having them on the Launchpad, you would be able to access a lot of the tokens that will be coming out in BRC20 as well. And I'm playing the narrative of Launchpads here because if you saw this post yesterday from Becker that he mentioned that Launchpads will be the new meta currently, I kind of feeling like people, what the current players on the market do, they plant seeds in order to sow once we basically will have the full bull. So I think it's a very, very nice and interesting strategy. For example, I took some profits on Polka markets today, just 2,000, and I put them into the nodes of XAI blockchain for gaming, and they kind of like looks or so. They're focusing a bit on essentially improving the user experience of gamers and make sure that they would be able to access Web3 features without a need to create like a MetaMask wallet and then figure this whole crypto thing out. So I think TURT might be a very nice pick here because it's just the combination of different narratives, and that's what I really like to do and what I really like to buy. we have this market vision that I've outlined. That might happen, might not happen, but I'm kind of thinking that it might be the max pain scenario for the market, because imagine someone who was here from maybe last cycle, he didn't take his profits or something, and he's in alts expecting them to go up, and basically BTC just surges, he's not making any money, and some people, they know, they're asking, oh, did you make any money on Bitcoin, because I thought that you were doing crypto. It's a very, very interesting scenario where eventually this person would just put all the liquidity from the altcoins in BTC, then they can crush BTC and have all season once they would have no players. And essentially with the FAT, with the regulations on the altcoins, it's a very, very interesting, nice play from my point of view. So we start, it's Launchpad, it's pushed by Becker currently, it's on BRC20, so you would have exposure to BRC20 as well. The ecosystem, you would be able to leverage on each and every coin that will be launching. And if this scenario with BTC will go up, yeah, you're safe as well. This thing, I think I would be buying it tomorrow. Maybe I would buy a bit more on the correction once we see one, if we actually see one, because in my scenario, I don't think that we should see a lot of the correction. And I think a very interesting thing for BlackRock and big players, institutions of the market, would just to cause FOMO and just surge the price up. So I think with the Bitcoin frogs, I would be probably able to exit at around $500,000 by the end of 2025. So that's definitely a longer term hold for me, but it has a very nice correlation with BTC. I don't have any exposure to BTC currently, and I want to have exposure to BTC, but something that will give me more leverage and more multipliers, because downside is losing 7k, upside is infinite. And if you would check all of my plays, they actually something like that as well. So that's L2 blockchain. I don't want to buy like any that's very, very high market cap currently, so I want to have exposure in this. That's around Pepe, so I don't want to buy Pepe right now because it's too high market cap, and this thing, it moves with Pepe, but it outperforms because it is larger. Polka is about gaming and in Gamblify. I don't want to buy Rollbit, so that's why I got Polka. Virtual Poker is the same thing. I think these two pokers, they're actually very, very nice picks, but I will still be taking some profits out of them probably this week. I remember guys play around gaming and around DOT as well. Phantasma is about decentralized infrastructure. Winar is the same thing about Rollbit. That's essentially, I didn't got into Rollbit, so that's why I'm sitting in this thing, because it will outperform Rollbit, and it's already doing so because it's just around 10 or 15 million market cap. And SpartaDex is the same thing about Arbitrum and Dexes. And it kind of have the combination of narratives. So that's how I'm picking the things that I'm buying, and I think it makes the most sense, especially if on top you have someone like Becker essentially pushing the narratives that you are buying as well. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think about the market setup that I have on my end. And I didn't buy TURT yet, so I would probably be adding some liquidity into TURT and into the Bitcoin frogs. But as of now, I would only want to spend 10k in total. So I would probably not be getting two of them. I'm leaning towards Bitcoin frogs more at this stage. And I would probably like to get TURT on the correction as well, because there is a high chance that we would see one. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the video, like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.